Hello. Let's see. Oh, well, let me do this. Hang on. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to pin that message. There we go. So, welcome. Welcome. Let's see what else we can do here. See who can come in today. Whew. Pluto is retrograde. Oh. Switch it around. There we go. Oh, there I am. Oh, gotta get the chin done. Gonna raise the chin. Let's raise the chin. Chin's up. It's not elbows up, it's chin up. Come on, get your chin up. Do your chin ups. You could do that. Come on, love. Let's get some lippy on. There we go. Hello, everybody. Giving you a little bit of lippy here. So welcome. We're going to do this. This is going to get a little bit crazy, a little bit of energy going here. So welcome. Hello. Welcome. So if you are just joining me for the very first time, who am I? Who is this crazy old lady? My name is Mary June Tracy, and I come to you with the 411 of the Cray Cray, as above, so below. And if you are feeling like your old life no longer fits, this video is for you. So the world is changing fast, but your soul is ready and knows that. So we have a few things that are on the coming up right now. Is that our summer circle is going to be a lunar scrapbook circle. And so if you are interested in joining me for June, July, and August, and it's very simple and it's very easy. It's about engaging in your life by taking pictures. So it's like your day-to-day life, just taking a picture and putting it into your scrapbook. And what it is to do is to show you that the beauty that is in your day-to-day life in a world that is going crazy, and a world that is going a little bit topsy-turvy. Do you know what I'm saying? So, and we also have the Come Sit With Me mentorships. So if you're interested in mentoring with me, we also have that. So let's get into some of the craziness that's going on right now and the energies. So if the world feels a little bit different today, well, it is. Pluto just stationed retrograde in Aquarius. And we are going to see a lot to do with world leaders and a lot more uprising when it comes with people and people coming, people starting to voice their opinions. We just saw in Alberta where the petition is like over 3,000 signatures. People are voicing their opinion. People are out there saying, no, we don't want this bullshit anymore. We don't want to be dealing with any elbow ups, pants down, butt in the air kind of energy anymore. We want something different. We want to be able to have what we have created, or what what's here, and utilize it in a very positive way. So the headlines are going to be exploding. Now, the number one thing right now is fuel shortages. Yes, I predicted it. I told you guys these things are going to be happening. So we are going to be dealing with huge fuel shortages. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. Doesn't matter what you are doing. You can say, oh, well, that won't happen to us. I'm sorry, honey. Sorry. This is it's going to happen everywhere. Airline disruptions. They just everywhere. When you start seeing things on mainline media, that's when it's like, okay, it's past the crisis. It's past it, because this is where you're going to start really seeing with disruptions in fuel. I think it was in the UK, they said 35 days left of airline fuel, and so there's going to be less flights. There are going to be shutdowns of certain airports because there will be lack of fuel. So it'll be probably mainly only the main airports that would be open in places. So if a city has like three, or a country has I'm going to say France. France has a bunch of little, because they have a lot of outlying sort of areas. Some of those airports will be closed, so you're going to have to go to more of a major hub of an airport, and then either rent a vehicle if you can and go from there, or catch a train. Now that's the next thing, is that you're going to see a lot more push for different types of trains coming in, and and mobility and movement, and something to do with trains keep coming in. I know there's I just feel like there's going to be more trains. Like, you already have them in the UK, you already have them in places in Europe, in Japan, China. They have, for mobility, there's more trains. So you're going to see that more. And I just feel like there's going to be something to do with electric trains, more so than, say, the diesel engine trains. So something to do with fast moving trains at this time. So trains just keep coming in. I'm going with it, and and there you go. So trains are coming in. I'm just telling people I'm live now on YouTube. There we go. Some people say they don't get my notifications, so make sure that you like and subscribe and follow, so that you are getting notifications of when I am on. So the next thing is not only the fuels, the fuel crisis is that's happening right now, and the airline disruptions that are going to be happening. The thing is food and fertilizer. Now, RFK, RFK Jr., um, like because he's such an advocate in the States about, making sure everything's clean, making sure everything's done. Now, he okayed Monsanto's and dealing with Monsanto's for over the next couple of years. And people were angry with him, but he knew what was coming. The thing is that you cannot just go and make everything organic. This is a concept that a lot of people have. They're like, okay, we are going to just do away with fertilizer. We're not going to have fertilizer for the farmers anymore. So when you have the big crop producers, like the wheat and the rye and the barley, the canola, and other crops, that the cereal crops and stuff, and you go and say to them, okay, no more fertilizer for you, they wouldn't be able to produce the amount of food that they would be able to do without the fertilizer. All right. So when he said that, there was something there, definitely, about we need to continue using the fertilizer because of food and shortages. There's going to be shortages that we have never experienced in our life, and that is worldwide. Some parts of the world are going to be more devastated than others, but it is going to affect every single person. And this is a wake-up call. Now, if you're a person that says, well, it's not going to affect me, that's not, that has nothing to do with me. Well, when you are going to be going to the grocery store in the next few months, you're going to be finding that there's going to be less than, whether it's the type of rice you like, whether it's the type of cereals that you like, whether it's the type of meat. I mean, they're in the Netherlands, they are now taking meat out of the grocery store. Just, so if you like to eat meat, you're going to find that there's going to be less than. It's not going to be there. And this is where, you know, with the energies that are coming in, I'm just a messenger. This is about realigning your life. This is about taking more control of how do I want to live? What do I want to do? Right? This isn't to scare you. This is about wakening up. This economic instability that is here, right? It's here. It's getting us to look at things in new ways. It's getting us to really take more of a proactive in our life. That's what it's doing. And so we have this economic instability that's happening. We're seeing it. We go to the grocery store, we fill up our car. One guy I was talking to, he has a diesel Tundra, I think it is. And to fill it up, he says it costs him $250. And I think he lives in Saskatchewan, actually. So I had another friend who had a really nice, I think it was a Dodge. It was a Dodge truck. She lives on a farm. They got rid of it. Beautiful, beautiful truck, diesel. And she said for the cost of filling it up and the insurance and everything else, she goes, no, they got rid of it. So a lot of people are starting to downsize. And that's the other thing. It's like if you have 2, 3 or more vehicles, you're going to find a lot of people are getting rid of the vehicles, right? They're going down to 1 car per family. And that's, and I know a lot of people say, well, I need my 2 cars. I need my 2 cars. But what you're going to find, especially with not only with the fuel shortages, you're also going to find with the economic instability, you're going to find it with insurance companies as well. Insurance companies are going to ask you, why do you have 2 cars? Like, what is the reasoning behind the 2 cars? Like, the thing is that with insurance companies, you're gonna find that they are not going to or they're going to increase the amount of your insurance because you have more than 1 vehicle, whether you're a good driver or not. That's going to be the economics of it. Because the other part too is with the insurance and with the fuel shortages, what they are trying to do is get less people driving and less people on the road. That's one of the things. So this is where it's like, okay, it's not exactly a bad thing. The other part too is that we got to also realize that airlines having a car hasn't been around for a very long time. We have just grew up with it. We're just used to it. It was a great experiment. But studying through history, what you think is the way it's supposed to be, what you think this is what we've always done. The rug gets pulled from underneath you every single time. And this is where it's like, and I'm just going to go back King Henry VIII. I go to church. I go to the Catholic Church. Well, all of a sudden, you can't go to the Catholic Church. You can't go into that church because you got to be a Protestant. If you are a Catholic, you're going to get killed, kind of thing. So change happens. Now, I know that's an extreme, that's craziness, but that's the type of energy that's coming in. It is extreme, and Pluto's gone retrograde. And Pluto retrograde in Aquarius is a lot, right? And this isn't about fear content. This is astrology meeting reality. That's what it is. And so this astrology meeting reality is Pluto retrograde in Aquarius, why the collective feels unstable right now, the collapse of the old normals, and why Taurus is forcing us to redefine our values, comfort, money, and survival. Uranus in Gemini and the beginning of a massive movement in communication shifts. So, why this next chapter is not about controlling the world, but becoming your true self instead of it, not falling into all of the narrative. It's not a moment, this is a moment to wake up, not to panic. It's not about panicking, it's not about freaking out. The people who will thrive in the next era are people who adapt, think differently, stop waiting for external systems to save them, and reconnect their soul, creativity, intuition, and real community. And honestly, that's why I created the Lunar Scrapbook Circle this summer. It's about that connection and getting connected to your life, right? One of the parts about scrapbooking, and I used to own a scrapbooking store, if those who didn't know, it was called MJ's Creation Supplies. And when I opened the store, I knew fuck all about scrapbooking. I never even heard about scrapbooking before. But getting involved in the scrapbooking and knowing how it's a huge industry, um, is something that is of value because it's taking normal life and putting it, taking that picture and putting it to with some stickers or putting it with a verse and you know you could say in the day in the life of going shopping, right? Having to get groceries. And you could take a picture of the grocery store, take a picture of your basket, those types of things, because in a year, 2 years from now, you're going to look back on that and you're going to say, wow, I thought that, I thought that was just a mundane kind of thing, but it's going to have so much more meaning to it. And that's why we're doing this creative the lunar scrapbooking circle, and looking at it over the summer, because over the summer is a time when we sort of take a step back from everything, and we don't necessarily are kind of in that hustle and bustle kind of energy of, say, September. We're automatically like, we've been so trained that September is like a back to school kind of energy. That's what we've been trained as an industrial society. We've been trained that September comes, this is what we do, this is how we do it. But really, human history, where most people didn't even know, they just knew the sun was up and the sun was down. Some people didn't even understand what month it was or day it was, kind of thing. They just went by the energies of of the blossoms, of the sun, of how where the planets were, and that's how they derived their days and their months and their years. This is where I'm finding that this scrapbooking circle is to create a rhythm in your life that is more balanced and more harmonious in a world where things are getting a little crazy. So it's not just journaling, but it's to document real life, your moments, your memories, and becoming and your soul through one of the biggest energetic shifts of our lifetime. I follow this one guy, and he found diaries. I think there were some of them was his family diaries, and others were a few other diaries from friends and that of the family going through the depression. And he looked, reading all the different, reading them and going through them. He goes, it was such a wealth of knowledge and understanding of, one, how people were feeling, two, some of the things that they had to go do and go through, and what they how they adapt it, right? So I find that since we're going through such a massive energetic shift, this is going to create something very beautiful for us. And that's also why I have come sit with me. The mentorship is evolving because people don't just need content anymore. They need guidance, grounding, community, spiritual clarity, and honest conversation during massive change. And so, if you're feeling the shift, you're not imagining it. So, welcome to all of this. Welcome to Pluto retrograde. So, to all of this. So, if any of that is interesting to you, definitely subscribe, like, and get a hold of me. You can DM me. So let's continue on with this craziness of energies that we have. So Pluto station retrograde is where you're going to find more, and I've already said it: the fuel shortages, the airline disruptions, food and fertilizer, economic instability. The virus narrative is returning. Have you noticed that there's a cruise ship coming up? I think it's off the coast. I think it's off the coast of Honduras. They're going to go to Antarctica. Um, and it's the hunter, I think it's the hunter virus. And people are dying on there. So that is part of the narrative that's coming through as well. Now, I'm going to be having I did my first half of predictions and they're fucking coming true for 2026. I'm going to be doing my second set of predictions. And um no, it's off the coast of Honduras. They're going to go to Antarctica. And because the virus is coming from South America. So that's where the virus is coming from. So that's the new narrative. It's not coming from China, it's coming from South Africa or South America now. So yeah, you know, just add that. So that's sort of the new narrative that's coming in. And the other thing is that systems beginning to crack in real time. So we are going to start seeing a lot to do with systems cracking, with things coming, different movements that are going to be happening with that. And that's going to be part of my predictions that I'm going to be talking about. And I'm going to be coming out with that probably, we'll see. Oh no, I'm thinking this weekend, but it might be later on because I'm just formulating it all. So for my predictions for the last half of 2026. This is where, especially with a lot of this energy that's coming in, of part of all of this is all have to do with the economic lockdowns that were going to be happening. We're also going to be seeing a lot to do with a lot of the cracks within the system happening, and things just start falling apart. And that's why it's so important for us to become very self-reliant, to really look at who are our communities, what is our connections. That's going to be a very important piece, especially in the next coming months as things are coming apart around us, right? So, and I've been talking about this for months. This isn't, as I say, it's not fear content. This is astrology. And as we go through this all, and as we go through a lot of this energy that is coming in, we are starting to see, you know, a, we're going to start seeing more about patterns. Pluto rules power, fear, control, collapse, truth, and transformation. Pluto stations, the pressure builds, the truth leaks, the cracks become more visible. And that's not only in the world around us, but it's also in your world. You're going to see where the pressure is building up in your life. You're going to see where things get leaked, your truth leaks out, and where cracks become visible. And when those cracks become visible, and when those things are happening, especially with Pluto, it gets you to really look at what needs to change. Pluto takes away things that you don't realize, or something that you really, really, really like. So whether that's, or something that you really have depended upon. So that could be where somebody goes through a crazy divorce or some kind of crazy breakup. And they're like, well, I can't do this. I don't want to do that. But you're going to find within in 2 years or 3 years from now, that when you look back at it, you're saying, holy shit, thank God I did. That's what Pluto does. And with Pluto retrograde, it amplifies it, right? And he's going to be retrograde for 6 months. So this Pluto retrograde now is in Aquarius. So this is about the systems, technology, society, AI networks, the future itself. So we are entering a period where humanity is going to seriously question, what kind of world are we actually building? We just saw, who is it? Elon Musk going to court and talking about open AI and everything else. That's kind of an interesting thing, since he was one of the ones who invented it or brought it to the forefront. I don't think he invented it, but was privy to the information and the knowledge to bring it forward. So this is what, this is where we look at, especially with that, as we're entering a period where humanity is going to seriously question about the world we're actually living. But let's be honest, the old world is not coming back. It's done. That world is done. It's done, right? And most people can feel that now. This live, I mean, it's not based on fear. It's meant to wake up and wake up spiritually and emotionally so you can navigate this consciously instead of reacting from panic. And that's going to be a very important piece. So, with all of this and with this energy, we also have with the Pluto retrograde in Aquarius, Mercury squared Pluto and the psychological pressure cooker we're feeling. Why Taurus season is focusing or forcing us to redefine money, value, stability, and survival. Uranus in Gemini is beginning massive shifts in travel, communication, media, and movement. That's why trains keep coming in, right? Because Gemini rules short trips, it doesn't rule long voyages, right? That's not what it deals with. It deals with very short trips. So things like cars and trains and things along that line, that's what it rules. And with Uranus coming in, it's electrical, it has something to do with disruption in all of that type of a system. And then we also have the collective systems are being more unpredictable. And how to stay spiritually grounded while the external world changes rapidly. So why becoming your true self is now the assignment. Because here's the real meaning. The people who thrive during the next era are not the people trying to cling to the old system. You can't. The old system is done. You have to adapt. You have to simplify. You have to reconnect spiritually, create differently, think differently, build authentic communities, and align with what actually matters. I got the Three of Swords reversed today and the Eight of Swords reversed. You know, honestly, could I mean, that was a kind of a perfect draw because it's the illusions that are breaking, the denial breaks, the attachment breaks, and the Eight of Swords is the mental prison opening. That's realizing I'm not trapped as I thought I was. And a lot of people can go into that mental trap, right? Well, technology is not going to end. Technology is going to expand even more. It's going to expand to even more than what you can imagine because it's a part of our life. It is our life, right? Um, and it's not going away. So this is where people have to learn to utilize it. It's like when the TV came in. So when TV came around, the television came in, it was called the boob tube. And my mom didn't get it. Like it was around, my mother didn't get one till around 1956, 1957. She did not want to have that in her house. She didn't want to deal with that technology. She didn't believe in the technology. And it was because my one brother was sick, and my aunt came in and she watched The Edge of Night, which was a huge soap opera at the time. So then she found, then of course we got a television in our house. Computers came around, right? Nobody, I don't want to have that in my house. I don't want, hardly anybody had a computer. I remember my one friend who had a computer and we played Pong on it. Pong, pong, you know, when it first came in, and you still needed a cord to attach it. It wasn't remote, um, so it wasn't wireless. So it's like everything. It's even when the wireless radio came in, not every people were afraid of it. They didn't want the wireless in their house. But once they got it in, they saw, oh, wow, look at I can get news, information, music, everything else. Technology that is changing. I mean, there's good and bad in it, but I'm finding that there's where the good is in this and where it can utilize it. It helps, man, it helps me so much in my day to day and how in writing out scripts and getting things done and helping me to put, workbooks together and creating them and giving me, ideas that I didn't even know I had. So, um, there's a lot of benefit to it, right? And there is so much change that is coming in here, and how things are going to evolve over the next little while. So I feel the cards that I got, like the Three of Swords and the Eight of Swords, is looking at, also your mental prison opening, like things are opening. And this is where you're realizing I am not as trapped as I thought I was. The cards are literally saying, yes, the world is changing, but you don't have to stay trapped in fear while it changes. This is why I keep saying, stop waiting for the world to define who you are. The system cannot give you your soul. The system cannot give you peace. The system cannot tell you your worth. That has to come from you. And honestly, that realization is what inspired both of my offerings, right? That I've talked about. So the lunar circle, the lunar scrapbooking circle, having that soulful summer journey, documenting your real life through photos and some journaling and memories, doing rituals like moon rituals, reflections, creativity, bringing that, not just the highlight reels, not perfection, but real life. And I think that's what's missing because there's so much highlight reels out there to bring in real life, right? Bring in what is the truth in your world, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Sometimes it's, I got pictures of my youngest son crying, all like getting mad, angry mode. But I look back at him and I laugh and I think, oh my God, I remember that, because it was like real life. This is Owen. Owen's an angry little Libra. They are. you know, Bringing that, and I can look at it and now it's kind of funny. At the time it was a little bit frustrating. But anyways, because years from now, I think people are going to look back at this era and realize this was the moment everything changed. And I want us to remain human through it. And that's the important piece, to remain human in this. Because even through my mentorship, this is becoming deeper space, where where you can connect. Connecting on weekly guidance, astrology, tarot insight, spiritual conversations, grounding practice, emotional support, and real talk about navigating change, reconnecting to your authentic self in a rapidly changing shift, and not being fake, fake positivity, not spiritual bypassing. I don't believe in spiritual bypassing. I believe that you have to really be in your life and be in your feelings. And sometimes for a lot, sometimes people don't want that. And it can be frustrating because it's very easy just to like bypass shit. I'm going to bypass it. Right. And then we went, and oh, what was this? We had a computer and there was nothing on it, nothing to do on it. Yeah, when it first came out, the dot program. But that's where, like, my mom, she's was a secretary all her life, and where she had the typewriters from the 40s. They're very, if you've ever typed on those, you really have to press down, and then if you make a mistake and stuff like that. And then went to the typewriters from the 60s and 70s a little bit differently. And then the typewriters of the 80s became electric. So they're a little bit easier to use. You can backspace on things a lot easier. You had a little piece of carbon and stuff, or the liquid paper that you could take away the mistakes that you made. All kinds of things, started to change. And then when she got the first computer, because she worked at the rectory and they got a computer set up, it was easier to do like Microsoft Docs and things like that. Became a lot easier because you could, if you did make a mistake, you could go back and it would just take it away and stuff like that. So technology definitely over the ages has changed so much. But we have that Pluto retrograde. So the breakdown of the old system, collective structure, technology dependence, and the illusion that someone else is steering the ship. Pluto retrograde exposes the power dynamics, and we're seeing that, the hidden truths where humanity has become disconnected from the soul and authenticity. Aquarius rules society, networks, AI, the internet, travel systems, collective movements. So expect unpredictability and a major revelations over the next 6 months. So there's going to be some major moves when it comes to governments and parties. We're going to be seeing a lot of things even in local government. So unpredictability in that, and especially as things are redefining itself. Now that Mercury is squaring over to Pluto, this is a psychological pressure cooker. So we're going to find where people there's a lot of fear, obsession, paranoia, truth bombs. This is where people can have like a mental breakdowns and the psychological breakdowns. This is where you're going to find a lot to do with media manipulation. So intense conversations, hidden information surfacing, all of it is going to be happening. So Mercury moving fast while Pluto stations can feel it's like a mental overwhelming. Things can just feel like overly too much. But this aspect also forces people to confront truths they've been avoiding, and it's not comfortable. It's bringing clarity. Try this is where, especially where Pluto is. Pluto is in the farthest reaches right now, and it's not above, it's below. It's like this, right? So Pluto, when it's at the farthest reaches, what happens is it has to do with society. It has to do with the regular Joe, right? And how they're dealing with their life and the aspects of their world around them and how those aspects begin to change. This is where you see people rise up. This was the French Revolution. This was the American Revolution. Well, the American Revolution started with Pluto in Capricorn. The French started with Pluto in Aquarius. So people are like frustrated, overwhelmed. We don't want to do this anymore. We don't want to live this way anymore. We want to make a change. And what is that change? This is where with Pluto in is also where with we can go further back with King Henry VIII because Queen Elizabeth I was born as a Pluto in Aquarius. This is dynamics of change. We're not taking what the church says anymore. We're not telling the Pope can't tell me what to do in my country, right? We're not doing that anymore. We're not giving them that money, you know? That's where these changes come in. People get fed up. We're not doing this anymore. Taurus season. Taurus is, rules money, it rules food, land, comfort, resources, and survival. And this isn't just about finances, it's asking you what actually matters to you right now. People are assessing work, relationships, lifestyle, and what truly brings peace. Taurus wants sustainability, not burnout, real value, real comfort, real life. There was on the news where this woman was like, I have to work extra hours to pay for my gas. And I'm like, how long can that go on before you have like you just like, fuck it, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not, I'm not being the worker bee for the person. I'm not being that person to give that extra to do what? To give it to somebody else? And that's where people wake up. Like, I am not giving that to give that. That's not what I'm doing. And that's where people, especially with the Taurus season, it's like, okay, getting that sustainability, getting that within them before Taurus goes into Gemini, because Uranus is in Gemini. That's radical change. That's radical change when it comes to how we communicate, transportation, media, education is going to be a big one over the next 7 to 8 years. And you're going to see a huge change in education and how you are being taught and how our children are being taught. AI and the movement across the globe. Last time Uranus was in Gemini was in World War II. Historically, this transit changes human connect and travel and think and exchange information. So expect disruptions and also innovations and awakening. So with Uranus in the 30s, in Gemini, oh, that was Pluto. Pluto came out, and that had to do with the atomic bomb and the formation of the atomic bomb. Uranus in Gemini had to do with new forms of communication. So that was radar communication, um, having been able to, when it comes to wireless communication, when it comes to getting telephones and stuff like that, communications along that line. So there's new innovations that are going to be coming around there as well. So and also with travel. So when World War II came about, it was air travel. Uh the planes and stuff that were coming out, and that was sort of the new way of dealing with the war. The war was air, like the planes. World War One was the trenches. So there's going to be a new formulation of how war is fought. So now we're seeing drones. We're seeing more robotic going into the wars. So war is being fought a lot differently than what it has in the past. So, and that's also with how we do things and how we communicate is going to be done so much differently as well. I'm going to oh no, it's fine. Okay. I thought my phone was going to die. It usually dies. That's what I'm on with my Instagram. So this is where we have the collective system becoming unpredictable. Flights changing, supply concerns, economics instability, sudden world events, confusing narratives. This is very Pluto and Uranus energy. So the external world becomes less predictable. So people are forced inward towards intuition, adaptability, communication, self-reliance. This is where the true self becomes the assignment. This is the biggest message of all. Pluto retrograde is asking you, who are you without the system defining you, without status, without validation, without identity? You built, without the identity you built to survive. This is a soul level, this is transformation. And it can feel very uncomfortable. Yes, because many people are realizing they are outgrown the entire version of themselves. It just doesn't work anymore. It doesn't work. So the changes, they're groundbreaking energies that are coming in. And Pluto retrograde is just I believe it just knocked off the top of the mountain. And we're stepping into a whole new valley, a whole new way of living in our world today. And I find that this can be very creative, very beautiful. Beautiful connections can come out of this, and new innovations on how we connect and relate to everyone. So, love to know what you all think. So definitely comment below, like and subscribe, and share it out. Share it out so that more people can come and follow the Guru Mama. I think everybody needs a little bit of the Guru Mama, don't you? So everyone, I love you all. Thank you for joining me. And have a blessed day. Be kind to yourself and be kind to others. Try to, anyways. And may the Lord and the Lady watch over you in all that you say and all you be and all you do. Blessed be, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.